I'm William Bell. Welcome to our study of 2 Peter chapter 3, the end of the planet, or the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Many people are waiting in fear of the destruction of our universe. They believe the Bible teaches that God will one day destroy the earth which he has created. First, this implies that something went awry with God's original creation. Secondly, it implies that God reneged on his promise made to Noah. You may recall that after creation, God said that everything that he made was very good. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 31. Secondly, after destroying the ancient world in the days of Noah by a flood because of their wickedness, God promised that never again would he destroy the world as he had done, although man's heart was evil from his youth. Yet today, many believe that 2 Peter chapter 3 teaches that God would do that very thing, destroy the planet by fire. Let us gather a little background from the Old Testament on the use of apocalyptic language. That means the signs and symbols the prophets employed when they speak about the destruction of the heavens and earth. Apocalyptic language was used many times in the Old Testament. Not once was it ever used, however, to refer to the destruction of the earth or planet on which we live. In every case where this apocalyptic language is found, it always describes the end of a particular nation. In other words, God employed apocalyptic language concerning the falling of stars, the shaking of the heavens and earth, to describe the destruction or fall of ancient rulers, their kingdoms, or their nations. The failure to understand this simple point in the Bible is one of the great tragedies in trying to understand the end time or the last days teachings of Scripture. Let's notice a few examples. First, in Isaiah chapter 13, verses 10 through 12, the prophet describes the fall of Babylon by the Medo-Persian army. It is called a day of destruction that will come from the Almighty, according to chapter 13 and verse 6. It is the day of the Lord's wrath and anger against Babylon. It is described as the darkening of the heavenly constellations. For the stars of heaven and their constellations will not give their light. The sun will be darkened in its going forth, and the moon will not cause its light to shine. However, as in the beginning of the chapter, as well as in verse 19, the prophet makes it clear that it is the destruction of Babylon, the nation, and not the end of the planet which is in view. It is important that we understand how the prophets used this apocalyptic language when speaking of the destruction of heaven and earth. Otherwise, when we read it in the New Testament, some will be misled into thinking that God will destroy the planet when he is speaking about the end of a nation, just as in the Old Testament. Secondly, in Isaiah chapter 24, the prophet writes, "Behold, the Lord makes the world empty and makes it waste, distorts its surface and scatters abroad its inhabitants. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly plundered, for the Lord has spoken this word. The earth mourns and fades away. The world languishes and fades away. The haughty people of the earth languish. The earth is also defiled under its inhabitants, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant, and therefore the curse has devoured the earth, and those who dwell in it are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men are left in it." Isaiah is describing Israel, who as a people defiled their land with idolatry and unrighteousness. They transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broke the covenant God gave them through Moses in Sinai. Therefore, the curse which God promised in Deuteronomy chapter 28 would come upon them. Notice how God uses similar language to talk about the destruction of Edom, who likewise fell under his curse. Isaiah chapter 34, verse 4 and forward, God says, "All the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled up like a scroll. All their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falls from the vine, and as the fruit falling from a fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Indeed, it shall come down on Edom," that also is a nation, "and on the people of my curse for judgment." In summary, we have examined 3 separate occasions where God promised to destroy the heavens and earth. Each occasion referred to a different event. In Isaiah chapter 13, we looked at Babylon. In Isaiah chapter 24, it was Israel, God's own people. And in the third example, in Isaiah chapter 34, it was Edom, Israel's longtime enemy and persecutor. Not one time was the literal planet destroyed, and in each case it was a nation punished for their sins. This is what the Bible means when it uses apocalyptic language about the end of the world, the earth, or the shaking of the sun, moon, and stars. Remember this when we get to the text in 2 Peter chapter 3. Join us again in our next lesson when we study more passages on apocalyptic language to help us set the stage for understanding 2 Peter chapter 3. I'm William Bell. Visit us at www.allthingsfulfilled.com and at www.lastdays-eschatology.net. We look forward to seeing you in our next study.